The American Rescue Plan's expansion of child tax credits begins tomorrow with payments to an estimated 39 million families. We learn more about the tax credit, who it includes, and how it's distributed from Tom Wheelwright, CPA and CEO of Wealthability. Tom Wheelwright, good to see you. Thanks for joining us as you're kind of our go-to guy here with all sorts of tax and information coming from Washington regarding payments. Now, the expansion of the child tax credit. Give us an overview here. Who qualifies, what the numbers are, what the parameters are?
So it's an amazing credit because it goes up to $3,600 per child for children under the age of 6. And that is under the age of 6 as of the end of 2021. It's $3,000, up to $3,000 for children between 6 and 18. And if your income is too high to take advantage of those, then you get a $2,000 credit. So most people with children under the age of 18 will get a payment.
What about family income here? And what about income if you're a single parent?
Right. So if you're single, then you get your income limit for the maximum is $75,000. If you're married, it's $125,000. If you are to get any of the credit, to get the $2,000 basic credit, the income levels are $200,000 and $400,000. So most people will get something.
Okay. Any limit on the number of kids per family?
No, there's no limit on the number of kids per family. Hopefully I'm right on that.
Yeah, I think you are, because I think I'd read that as well, and I thought, holy smokes, that's a lot. And this is a monthly tax credit, correct?
Well, it's an annual tax credit that's being paid monthly.
Okay.
So it's $3,600 a year that's being paid in $300 a month installments beginning tomorrow.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so they are installments. These are payments. How are they going to be delivered?
So if it'll be the same way you got your stimulus check, basically. So if you got your stimulus money via direct deposit, it'll be a direct deposit. If you got your stimulus money via a debit card, I suspect it'll be a debit card. I don't think they're sending checks out. I suspect they're sending out either debit cards or they're going to do direct deposit.
If you are a family, and you mentioned the parameters there as far as income levels are concerned, what if you don't make enough money to pay taxes? If you're a non-filer, if you will, how does that work?
So the IRS actually has a child tax credit portal. And you go into the child tax credit portal and you put in your information. You have to show that you have a federal ID number, that you have a social security number. You have to basically prove that you're entitled to it. But the irs.gov website on child tax credit is very, very good. And their portal is where you make any changes or any corrections you need to make.
And you mentioned the fact that these were payments over a yearly payment, but over a series of time with installments. Can you request one lump sum payment?
Well, effectively you can, but that lump sum payment will come when you file your tax return next year. So you can't get more than that $300 a month, but you could actually say, no, I want to wait and get my tax credit when I file my tax return.
Interesting. You mentioned taxes. Let's talk about that here. How does this affect how taxes are filed? Is this considered income, for example?
It's not considered income. And however, if you're not entitled to this tax credit, and I'm afraid there's going to be a lot of people who get the money who aren't entitled to it, you will have to pay it back when you file your tax return next year. So it is a tax credit. It's just an advance payment of a tax credit, not a whole lot different from the stimulus checks. Those were advance payments of a tax credit. The difference is that this is an advance payment for 2021. And so even though the IRS looked at your 2020 tax return to determine if you're eligible, if you turn out not to be eligible for 2021, then you have to pay it back when you file your tax return.
My goodness, how do you know? How do you get the hint that this is maybe not for you?
Well, for example, let's say, for example, your income is much higher this year, right? And you don't qualify for as much. Let's say last year you had a tough year, maybe you were unemployed for some of the year, and this year you're back fully employed, you've got much higher income, so you need to pay attention. On top of that, what about the shared joint custody, right? So you might be with your former spouse, you might alternate years that you take the children, but that means that in 2020, maybe you got it, and in 2021, your spouse gets it, but according to the IRS, they're just looking at 2020. So they don't know. So that's again why this child tax credit portal of the IRS, that's where you can make any changes, you can check your status, everything that you need to do, you can do on that portal.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wanted to ask about child custody, joint custody issues, because you know they're out there. You know it's going to be a problem. Is it the kind of problem that families can figure out on their own, or are they going to have to take another step?
Oh, I think they should be able to figure it out on their own. If not, either go to your tax preparer. Your tax preparer should be well versed in this. Or, again, go to irs.gov and go to the child tax credit portal.
And with that in mind, between stimulus payments, tax credits for this, tax credits for that, next tax filing season, is this going to be one big question mark hanging over the country?
Just like it was this last tax filing season, right, Ted? So I think so. And I actually think there are going to be people who all of a sudden owe money that they were expecting a refund and now they owe money. Very much like happened in 2007 for 2018, right? After the 2017 Act, they reduced withholding and then people owed money and they were upset about it. So if you're not sure, better to wait and get it at the end. In other words, wait until April.
Yeah. Great information. Tom Wheelwright, Wealth Ability. Thank you. I mean, it's just every time something like this happens, we got to go to you to figure out who's qualified and what it means when tax time rolls around.
Well, for sure. This is the average taxpayer. I don't know how the average person does their own tax return anymore. It's just so complicated.
Tom, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You're very welcome.